Hi, this is Alex Rowley for Module 3 assignment for Introduction to Psychology. Um, this module's assignment is about gender and perception. So first off, I'd like to clarify the difference between sex and gender. So traditionally, sex has been seen as your biological features, your external and internal genitalia, your chromosomes, and gender is what gender you relate to. And there's a lot more that goes into that, but that's just basically how sex and gender have been defined. Now that sex role inventory, I felt had more traditional stereotypes about what is perceived as masculine and feminine qualities. And I think that there's only so far you can get with a with a test like that. I think that the feelings about one's gender are equally important, and as well as your biological sex, obviously. Um, I feel like measuring gender is important when talking about transgender rights, such as employment and discrimination. We saw a lot of this during the transgender bathroom controversies. Um, I think measuring sex is important in the medical field, because there's going to be some, diseases that are more likely to hit people with female sexual characteristics instead of men. Um, and obviously the sporting arena as well. So the first thing I'd like to talk about was the South African runner who was asked to take a gender test. I think the soccer player was asked to take one as well. I think that having athletes take gender tests, it's not wrong, because you definitely want to make sure that everyone is on as even a playing field as possible. But it should be done respectfully, without discrimination, handled with care and compassion. Because you can't discriminate against anybody. It seemed to me like with the South African runner, um, she, all because she looked and talked more masculine than most girls, she was being asked to take the test, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. That's not exactly fair. Um, I believe that, you know, if athletes are asked to take it and something comes up that's abnormal, the opposition should be allowed to know the results, just so they know what they're getting themselves into. Um, the transgender basketball player situation. Um, that's not something for me to really make a judgment on, because I'm not a doctor. I think that doctors and the leading members of the medical field should be the ones making these decisions and doing the research on it. Because I'm just a guy in college, um, and I think that this should be done, as neutrally as possible. Just having the doctors and the scientists, find the facts about performance and among the transgender community, or people that have abnormal sexual characteristics. Um, you know, um, Obviously safety is the most important thing. Um, and in an issue of safety, I actually have one other athlete to bring up that wasn't on the module, but I thought was interesting. I'm involved in the mixed martial arts world. I've been involved in it since I was about 13 years old. Um, there was a fighter that her name was Fallon Fox. She was out of Florida, and she was transgender. The problems were that she didn't disclose about her surgery to the licensing board, to the Florida State Athletic Commission, um, until a reporter found out and reported it to the public. And then there was a big controversy. I think she was undefeated at the time, maybe 4-0, I think 5-0, something like that. And there's a big uproar. UFC commentator Joe Rogan got involved. Um, Ronda Rousey got involved, and their point was basically like, in their view, that they're like, that's like a man fighting women. which obviously would be wrong. That would, if that was the case, that wouldn't be fair. Safety is the most important thing in sports, especially in combat sports. Um, so obviously safety should be taken into account. The problem is that the most vocal people weren't citing any references or research. It was basically just, people that are big in the MMA world, making statements out of just what they felt, just making emotional statements. Um, Most of the scientists disagreed. Um, One scientist, her name is Dr. Eric Villian from um, the Institute for Society and Genetics at UCLA. He said, male to female transsexuals have significantly less muscle mass, strength, and bone density, and higher fat mass than males. Um, so obviously, I'm not a doctor. I don't know the full science behind it, but most of the scientists that were consulted supported Fallon Fox, and once the Florida State Athletic Commission found out, they ran their own tests on her, and they still licensed her to fight. And for a long time she was discriminated against. You know, After it came out, some of her opponents spoke out saying that they felt like she was stronger than other women that they fought. And that's kind of a hard thing to judge, because they didn't say anything after they fought about her strength. But when they found out that she used to be a man, they said that she felt stronger. Now, to me, could that just be like confirmation bias? Like they had a bias in their head against transgender MMA fighters, not transgender people, but transgender MMA fighters. And then they mentally decided that she was stronger. Like, oh yeah, that's why I lost, right? Because of this. So I definitely feel like scientists and doctors should be the ones making all these decisions. In sports, but especially combat sports, because if there is a chance that somebody could get significantly hurt because of that, then that's something that they need to make a decision on. But so far, that hasn't been the case. Transgender MMA fighters would be licensed in most states. There's not a whole lot of them out there after the Fallon Fox controversy, but they're still able to get licensed, and there haven't really been any huge problems. Nobody's gotten hurt. So I definitely think that sex and gender, in general, but especially in sports, needs to be handled, carefully and with compassion, and we need to make sure that, we keep safety in mind. We're also not discriminating against anybody. I think that's the most important thing. And so that's all I have to say on this subject. I will include my references from the Fallon Fox situation in the video, or in the typed out part. So thank you. Bye.